Hello and welcome back to episode number 2 of the Quantum Chiropractor Podcast. Now, we did our introduction episode last time, which was great. I'm really excited to tackle episode number 2 today, which we're going to be getting into the root causes. Last episode, I mentioned there's 2 root cause issues that get missed or incompletely taken care of that account for 90% or more of most people's headaches, fatigue, and chronic health issues. So today, we're going to be doing an overview of what those issues are. And we're going to get right into it. So root cause issue number 1 is a lack of structure. So when I say this, people oftentimes have kind of a question mark on their face and like, what are you talking about? So when I tell people, hey, does it make sense to you that your body needs to be in a good position and be able to move well if you're going to feel and function well? And people are like, oh yeah, of course. And I'm like, okay, so for example, if you've had headaches for 4 years, has anyone ever looked at your structure? And they're like, well, I mean, not really. Like, I know my posture is not great, and like I did some physical therapy, and I know I have like tight muscles over here. So there's kind of like a fringe conversation about it of like, hey, I've noticed a couple things, but it's never like, yeah, this is front and center, and this is something that we really dove into and looked closely at. So again, let's think about this for a second. Gravity is always pulling down straight on top of us, right? We never get away from that. It never takes a break. It's always going. And we're designed as human beings to operate upright in gravity, right? Like, I mean, again, this just is almost so obvious that we don't even think about it sometimes. Yet, just like a building, if we build a building that's leaning over, what happens? One side starts breaking and crumbling because it's taken on more load than it should and everything's not distributed equally. Well, what happens to the human body when we have twisting, turning, leaning, hunching, and gravity is always pulling straight down? Guess what? Certain things break down more quickly than others. Some areas of your body are working way too hard. Other areas aren't working nearly hard enough. So most people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I guess I'll do some like stretches and yoga, right? And I want to pump the brakes on that for a second too, because we've all been told this lie of structure being, hey, you just need to remember to sit up straight if you want to have great posture. Or, hey, you need to, do yoga if you want great posture. That's how you get good posture. The issue is people actually do those things and it doesn't work. How come? Could it be that there's more to the story than we've been told? The answer, of course, is yes. Because we do have muscles and bones, right? So stretching, like those kind of things, it does make sense, but we also need to dig deeper because not only do we have muscles and bones, we have a tissue called fascia, which is just as important, if not more important than the bones for actually allowing our bodies to move. And then on top of that, we have nerves that tell all of that soft tissue what to do. So your muscles, your ligaments, your tendons, all that stuff doesn't do anything unless your muscles tell it to do something. But again, we like never take that step back and actually look, hey, are these things actually talking together? Is everything playing together nicely? So the fact of the matter is postural is a neurological reflex. There's something called your autonomic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that controls things automatically. So you don't have to think about beating your heart. You don't have to think about digesting your food because your body is doing that automatically, and it's handled by a very specific part of your nervous system called the autonomic nervous system. Your posture is also controlled by your autonomic nervous system. So we do have voluntary muscles where we can like put ourselves in a position if we want to, but what happens the second you stop thinking about it? You default back to that posture that you're probably struggling with at this point. And on top of that, you're only gonna be able to support yourself as much as you have structural integrity in that soft tissue. So the muscles need to be in a certain state, the fascia needs to be in a certain state, the ligaments and tendons need to be able to do certain things. So you're not just like this marionette doll that has like bones and then there's just muscles that pull around on them, and if you pull on the muscle correct, you're gonna get to the right position. You are a complex, vibrant being with a nervous system that has complexity that's currently, it's fully beyond our comprehension at this point. Like, we're understanding better, but this rabbit hole goes so much deeper than we had ever thought imaginable. And this area has been exploding over the past 5 years with research, and we're just learning so much more than we ever did before. So if you're gonna fix your structure, you're gonna need to know things like what fascia is, how it operates, how it interacts with your muscles, how we have a hydrostatic network of microscopic tubules that's filled with this special water that our body actually makes that supports most of our body weight. You need to know how to reset your nervous system for real, not just calm it down for a few minutes. And you're also going to need to know what good movement actually means for human beings, because again, we've all been told incorrect information about this. So once you start to understand these topics, then you're going to have real workability to have the structure, the movement, and the posture that you have always wanted. So that's our root cause issue number 1. I promised I was going to keep these episodes short and sweet, so I planned on talking about both. In our next episode, what we're going to talk about is root cause issue number 2. So reflect on structure a little bit. Know that it's a lot more complex than we were ever told. And next week, we're going to get more into root cause issue number 2. And this one is super juicy as well. It never gets looked at, and it's absolutely critical if you want to heal and if you want to feel better. See you next week.